Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. You see where I'm at? EFI Specialties. We're back at EFI Specialties with Mac. We're going to hook up the triple pumps. I'm going to show you what we do to for the FC3 controller and how we're going to do it. We did a little bit of that in the other install video, and then we're going to get it back on the dyno and run some ice runs. So stay tuned, some big numbers coming. All right, so we interrupt this regularly scheduled program to give you the lowdown of what this video is going to be, because it's going to be a long video. So we do the install of the FC3 controller, the hob switch, and the circuit breaker. We swap out because now we're on a, initially we were on a fuse block and we switched to a circuit breaker. So we'll show you all of that. We'll show you the final product. And then we go to doing some Hellcat stuff with Mac. Hellcat he's built and done. Then we move on to the dyno and do the dyno pulls. So there you go. You can skip through the install, watch the Hellcat, or skip through the Hellcat, watch the dyno, whatever you guys want to do. But those are kind of the three sections of this little bit longer video. I'm going to try a little bit longer videos, see how they do, and if they don't do well, we'll scale it back a little bit. But that's the plan for this video, so stay tuned. So all right, so here we are getting started. First thing we got to do is the tank's got to get out of the way.
Always turn your ringer on, kids.
Yeah, and always yeah, especially when you're supposed to meet Don at 2 o'clock, and I won't tell you when I'll let him tell you if he wants to, but
I did give Don permission to show up to my house if it ever happens. He's got my address.
Turn on the ringer. But first order of business, this ice tank has got to get out of the way. So we're going to do that first because everything's going right up underneath there, like I showed you before. Oh, the 2 is back here, the FC2. That's going to be gone, and everything's going to be down here and run right through here.
It'll make sense
when
it's done.
Yeah, it'll make a lot more sense when it's done. But what we got to do is one bolt here, one bolt there, and one bolt on the other side of the pump. And then I think we can move it enough without having to disconnect everything.
And again, there's nothing wrong with how it's done, but you can see how the wire would have to run right now.
Right.
We would only be able to tuck that over so far.
Right. And with me throwing stuff in and out of there, and
I don't like it. So, and
I don't do it as much as I used to. I still throw a lot of stuff.
I don't want to have to extend those wires, because then you got a solder joint or something, plus longer wires, more resistance, more heat. So
all kinds of business.
We'll move them over here. They'll be shorter, tucked out the way. I'm sure Don will still find a way to possibly mess one up.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
But at least it won't be such a big deal. Yeah, that one was already loose, Don. Well,
was it?
Yeah, that's me turning it. We'll have to tag team this most likely. All right, they're loose.
You need me underneath?
Yeah,
to hold the nut.
Yeah.
Not that nut. All right, I gotta go into the car. I'll be back. All right, so we're about to drill some more holes in shake and bake here in a second.
She needs all the holes she can.
That's right.
Let's see if that works.
I don't think that went through far enough.
Well, this is what we'll do. That's about right. So I'll drill the first one, bolt it on,
and then drill
the second one.
See? Always ways around it.
Because I got the rib nuts. I'll break out the rib nutter.
Rib nutter.
So we'll put the first nut in, you know.
So we can get nutty.
We're gonna put some nuts in her rear, and then we'll get to bolting. We nut and then we bolt, right?
We nut and then we bolt.
I think it was. I mean, they both work. This is it. do is grab the
Rib nut it.
Yeah, I got to grab the riv nuts. I got to grab a little bit bigger bit for the riv nuts. That's going to be a pilot. Then we'll secure this in place, and then drill the other one. I'll just use this as a pilot to make a mark. Yes, sir.
All right, back in a sec. All right, just that simple. There's one riv nut in. We're gonna mark the second one and put the second one in. All right, so tighten it down, put it exactly where he wants it.
Yeah, I'm just good because I'm not. I mean, we're looking at it. I'm not gonna sit here and level it. It feels about where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Based off my expert feeling skills.
Your expert leveling skills.
Yeah.
Mark it. Slide it.
Tighten it.
Tighten it. Push it through. Widen it.
Yeah, you can show this whole process right here.
You gotta widen the hole.
And then nut in it.
The rib nutted it.
Let me grab one of these guys.
Oh. I'm in the way now.
Oh, at least they'll get to see real time. So this thread's on here like this. That's it. Till it's tight. You stick it in the hole and just, oh wait, I'm sorry. You put it on like this.
You gotta pull it apart. Then.
Yeah. I'm just.
Then stick it in and pull it together.
And then push it in.
Like that. Unscrew it.
And then if the calculations are correct,
which I hope they are,
we'll be able to just
flip it up and put the other bolt in.
If they're good, then we move on to the breaker. Just like that.
Yep.
So,
rib nut it.
yep.
All right, so breaker basically the same way as that one. So I'm not going to show you doing it 4 times. I'll show you doing it once, and then just do the same process 3 more times. So we'll be back once that's done. All right, so update. You can see we taped all the wires. We hooked up pumps 2 and 3. Ran the wires up underneath the I don't know what you call it, little cover there, and we're going to run it down here because if I put the back in, the back sits on this, on here. So we're going to run it down through here, over to here, and then over to the battery.
Like I said, my idea is always you can throw painter's tape to keep
it in
off
spot,
and
keep it in place.
then that way, if you're not running this, you can just tuck the damn thing up under there if you want. So
Yep.
it still looks way cleaner than.
So that's the plan. You see where the circuit breaker's at? Right there. And then the FC3 controller is going to go right there in a minute. Once we disconnect the FC2 back here.
I already took all that off.
Oh,
look, your wires are already here. We're moving quicker than you thought we were.
well, we still got to take the pigtail off of there.
I already took it off.
Oh, all right. He already took the pigtail off. So we're ahead of schedule a little bit. So we'll get back. I'll get some of Mac doing some work here in a minute.
Very rare thing.
All right. So the one thing you want to make sure is you know which wires are pump number 1. 2 and 3 really don't matter because they're on the same switch. But the pump 1, you want to, especially if you have a 450 like I do, pump 1 and 525s on 2 and 3, you want to make sure you know which one's pump 1 when you hook it up to the FC3 controller, because you see real quick There's 3 different lines there, and you want to make sure pump 1 is in pump 1, and then you also want to make sure the trigger wire for pump 1 is in the trigger wire spot for pump 1. Okay, you got to make sure you do that, because if you don't, then you're going to have them switched and your dual pumps are going to be on all the time. And your 450 will come in with the Hobbs switch, and we'll talk about the Hobbs switch in a second, because I didn't know anything about a Hobbs switch until Mac started talking about it, and then I googled it and found out exactly what it was.
Literally,
but
other than we're gonna intercept the red feed wire to that, and I'm gonna put ends on it to bolt it on there.
Yep.
And then I just have to run the Hobbs through and hook the Hobbs up, and then this is done.
Yep.
Like, we're literally almost done.
So what he's saying is he's gonna cut here to hook it here, and hook this end here, and then we're pretty much done except for the Hobbs switch.
We're gonna vacuum that stuff out and then put the ice tank back.
We'll make it a little pretty, and we'll put the ice tank back, and we're gooch. So let's talk about a Hobbs switch and what a Hobbs switch does. So Hobbs switch.
Well, let's explain it in. I'm running it out longer so he has a better ad chance. What a Hobbs switch is a Hobbs switch. You know, it's a Hobbs switch. We all love Hobbs switches. You get the reference?
We all love Hobbs switches.
Kind of like school buses, you know, yellow school buses.
Yellow school buses.
We'll talk about the Hobbs switch. It just completes the circuit. So the Hobbs switch is going to go here, just so y'all can see. So this is pump 1. So this triggers pump 1. We're going to put a wire here and a wire here. This is the pump 2 trigger. So when we show you what the Hobbs switch is up there, just think about it completing these circuits so it kicks the other pumps on. That's what it's going to do, but we'll show you that up there. How about that?
But what the Hobbs switch really does is take pressure, PSI, so it's set at 5 PSI. So when the car hits 5 PSI, it completes the switch at the front of the car, sends a signal down to here, and closes this switch, so all 3 pumps are running at the same time.
525s come on, because you don't want, like,
you don't want to be short of fuel.
Your old setup should not have had both pumps running constantly. It should have had a Hobbs switch in it.
Well, see, that's the way the FC3 controller works, though. It doesn't have a extra one.
You can do the Hobbs switch. You can buy one that has a higher amperage rating and use it as the ground.
Oh,
so
okay.
it grounds the pump. So this would still have had power to it, but that completes the ground.
Gotcha.
Because you notice how all the junk was in there. They were talking about your pumps. It might only been one pump, but both of them running a lot creates a lot of heat.
Right.
A lot of amperage, and that's really bad. That's why we have the 450 in here now for your daily driver, cruising around pump. Minimal heat, minimal amperage, easier unwiring, this, that, and the other. And then that way when the 525s kick in, all hell can break loose, but we'll be 9 seconds or less at that point. So
exactly,
it's all good.
Yeah. It'll only be on for 8.5 seconds, because that first half second is going to take it to get there.
Yeah, you're going to hit 5 pounds per.
Well, maybe a quarter of a second, maybe a little faster.
It's going to be fast.
Anyway, it'll be quick, and then the pumps will kick on, and then 8.8 seconds later we'll be at the end of the track.
We got to do 8.8 because I told them 899s don't count. That's basically a 9.0.
It counts for Dawn.
9.0s don't even count as almost 8s in my opinion. You got to run two 880s, 880 anything, and then it's considered deep in the 8s. Two 899s, that ain't an 8-second car. You just got lucky twice. So it's just like
luck is good enough for me.
Just like if my car only went 1099 twice. Okay, it got lucky twice. It went deep in the 10s. That's a 10-second car. So.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll back the car up a tad.
Yeah, way we can access it.
We can get under the hood, and I'll show you where we're going to put the Hobbs switch and what the Hobbs switch looks like. And then we're going to wire it in. And then technically right now we could put the car on the dyno. We don't need, because it still has the 80 amp fuse block still tied in there. So we're still safe. But we'll see when Dave shows up and how much time we got to cut the wire and solder the ends and get the circuit breaker in there.
It's getting crimped, and then I usually
the circuit breaker. I don't know about you, but in my opinion, circuit breaker is better than a fuse block.
I like it. The fuse block we'll have to take out at some point, but for right now, it'll be all right, because I can just, you know, the wire I have for the other side, I can extend that to the battery. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Oh, so you want to leave the fuse block in there?
For right this second.
Okay. So we're going to leave it in there for now. because
I'm gonna make
it's already tied into that power pigtail. That's why.
I'm gonna cut.
It's just one more thing for us to do.
And make a new piece to come off the thing. And that way, if Dave does show up and say, "Hey, let's get it on the dyno," I could say, "Okay."
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
So we're being prepared for Dave. When Dave shows up, the car's got to be ready to be on the dyno.
Yeah, I don't even have to bolt that thing in. We can pop it in, connect the lines, and I'm trying to make sure Dave has no excuse. That's all I'm trying to do. But I'm gonna make that wire, and then once the wire is made, I'll cut everything.
We'll worry about that later.
Yeah, it'll be done most likely before it pulls out. But if I cut this now, Dave will show up.
That's true.
So
all right. So we're gonna back up, put the hub switch in. I'll show you where it's at. All right, to kind of show you what we're going from and what we're going to, here is the 80 amp fuse block for the FC2. Now for an FC3, they recommend a 100 amp fuse block, right? So that's why we had to replace this. So we replaced it, like I said, with the circuit breaker right here. And what's nice about the circuit breaker is if it trips, you can just flip it back and turn it back on. Right, so they're designed to trip, where these just blow out, and I blew out 2 of them. Not really sure why, never really figured it out, but that's why I felt more comfortable going with a circuit breaker. So if you do order a Fore fuel system, my suggestion is go ahead and get either the one from Fore, or you can get one aftermarket. But I highly suggest you getting a good one, not necessarily one from Amazon or from China. Go ahead and spend the extra $20 or $30. Go ahead and spend the extra $20, $30 and get you a guaranteed good circuit breaker.
The phone was made in China, that camera.
All right, so Matt gave you the what a hob switch does, and I gave you kind of how it works. So this is a hob switch, which has a pigtail. Some don't come with pigtails, some come with just screws on the sides for your wiring. But I went ahead and bought the one from Fore, and it's set at 5 PSI, I think. So we're gonna tee this. We're gonna put a little piece of tube here. It's gonna tee off. Eventually, we're going to put in a boost block, or a vacuum block. But for now, we're just going to put a little piece of tube, tee it off, and tie it into one of the vacuum lines that we already got. Just to get the car running for now, and we'll pretty up the hob switch later when we got a little bit more time.
You can't order a vacuum block right this second.
We're going to try and get it. We're going to try and get it hooked up so we can get it on the dyno, folks. Get her on the dyno. Because I know you guys love dyno.
All right.
And we may even do a live. All right.
So the hob switch wiring, the trigger and one of the hob switch sides is both through, pump number 1, and then pump 2 remote for these is where the other side of the hobs comes in. So once it hits 5 PSI, it just connects this circuit.
So it's a dual wire.
Yeah, that's all it's doing.
So dual wire. One goes in the signal wire and one goes in with your single pump, and then that creates the circuit, which then kicks in the 2 525s. So there you go. Probably way too much talk on a hob switch, but we're gonna get this button back up, we're gonna get the tank back in, we're gonna fill it up, we're gonna get it back on the dyno, and Dave's gonna do his thing. Cool. All right, Mac's doing a reel.
Yeah, I gotta actually do a longer one. I only did 15 seconds for some reason. If I choose 90, then I can just do, what I gotta do. So as Don's YouTubing with multiple situations here, I want to show you all the wiring. There was nothing wrong with, everyone has their own way of wiring. This is how I like to do these. So everything's,
that's all the wiring,
nutted.
Super clean. Mac's doing a thing for Instagram, so we'll be back in a second. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do one pull to check out the new triple pumps, make sure they're kicking in, and Dave, as long as they're kicking in and doing what they're supposed to do, and we got good fuel pressure, Dave may have to make some tweaks to the fuel map because now we got more fuel pressure. Once he makes those tweaks, we'll do a verification pull. So that's 2 pulls, and then Mac and I will go get some ice and ice her down, and we'll see what happens. So I'm looking for 3, maybe 4 pulls.
Yeah, it ain't gonna take much.
Yeah, should not take us much. As long as everything goes good, we should be done in about 3 or 4 pulls.
The snafu was me oversleeping.
But you know the deal. I'm gonna sit in my chair, let the keyboard master do what he does. And Mac, I don't know what he's doing. He's just gonna go do whatever. And I'm gonna sit my butt in the chair.
What I'm doing real quick?
I'm gonna sit my butt in the chair. Oh, wait.
So, the cool thing is, I can say cam Hellcat. First running Mackbuilt Hellcat with a cam.
Yep.
Second running, you just went for a ride in this one. Remember our boy did the drop-ins in it. This has got my heads.
Yep.
Cam, I ported the blower. I just did the Nitrous Express lid.
Nitrous Express lid.
As a test. It gained power. Every setup's a little different, so.
So go check out Mackbuilt on IG. He just put up a story, or a
yeah, it's a story.
A story on a pull we did with this car,
yeah.
man. It's on 262 gears, which is just ridiculous.
I might make a reel of it just because who knows how long until this gets posted. It'll only be 24 hours. I'll tell you what, when you post this video, I will repost it on my story so they have 24 hours to watch it.
Okay.
Versus making it a reel. Let me start this thing for you. So.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and start it up.
So this has also got jumps in it. Like, well, let me grab
glowing Hellcat was pretty cool.
Yeah, let me grab the key.
Let me see if I can get that. Look at that. Little glowing Hellcat. That's pretty cool.
Here, you sit in it and start it up for the people.
No, I got to get the dumps back here.
Oh, okay.
We got to get the full, full effect.
Yeah, and then walk around the front once she idles down.
Just right at 900.
We can't talk about it because one, we got to say this first. It made 571 on the hard tire stock on this dyno. This is a Hellcat that actually we have dyno of. It gained a little over 300 wheel horsepower, but it's making the horsepower that cars normally would make on 20 pounds. It's doing it on 16. So that's what I wanted to clear up. So it's working. And
there you go.
And then the one that's on the lift is about to get a 3-liter Whipple. And IC interchiller. It's already got headers on it and stuff. And I drove it around quite a bit. So
get some longy tubes up in there.
Yeah, and don't mind the mess in the background. Our dumpster was full, so. But yeah, man.
Oh,
this
looks
one's
good.
staying stock. He's awesome. He's got the East Coast Drivelines drive shaft in it. You know.
Okay. Yep.
We like the East Coast stuff here. So
yep.
I got some lockouts thrown in it. I got some. It's got the AED arms up top. I got the toe arms and stuff for it. So.
Right up here.
I'm doing demon killers on it. The springs like you have.
Right.
From BMR. We're doing all that stuff. So this will be out and about, and you know.
So. Now that Shake and Bake is out there in the world with the power she's making, with what we're doing, there's a lot of people coming to Mac asking for the same, asking for basically the same setup. Now maybe not the Hi-Ram, but the cam and the long tubes and all of that. People are wanting the same setup.
We might as well tell them. So I think I touched on the fact in one of your videos that I'm doing My transmission's going to APS, Applied
Yep.
Torque Solutions. They're doing a full billet like crazy. I talked about it in your live, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They're doing, it's getting the billet E drum, C drum, I think he might do the D. He's got the basket, like,
Right.
upgrading, like, I think it's like the stator. He's got his own steels and clutches. He said my HP70 will be able to hold 1,400 wheel horsepower or more. I explained to him, I want to make 12 to 1,300 on our dyno. I said a stock Hellcat makes about 570 to 580. So I said, just to reference, he said, not a problem. So I'm doing that. East Coast drive shafts got me a drive shaft coming. Sticking with my converter. We're gonna do a modern red headache V2 cam in my car, and I wonder why.
Because it works.
Because I'm doing a D1X as well. So I'm already in the talks with ProCharger, and you know, we told them what Don's car was doing, and they were like, that is amazing. They said that blower's rated at 1075.
And that's crank.
Crank. I said if everything goes good on Friday, we'll see 1,200. So hopefully we do that. So my car will be a version of your car, kind of, but refined, I would say.
Right.
I'm gonna do the shear fab intercooler stuff, which, you know, puts the throttle
some
on
little
the back.
differences.
Yeah, so we'll see what the differences make on with what I'm doing versus what you're doing.
Right.
And then we should have some really good head-to-head racing next year.
Should
Or probably,
have some awesome races next
I mean,
year.
we're both trying to do like an 880-ish
Right.
a couple times and then dial it back to mid to low 9 so that we can literally just enjoy the cars and not, you know, necessarily kill them constantly.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. Just so we
Yeah,
can
I want to
have
get
fun.
I want to get a 9.0 tune and a 9.5 tune, so that way, no matter what, if I go to an event and they only have 9.0 to 10.0, I can run 9.0.
Yeah, we can just
Or
lower
if they go 9.5 to 9, I can do 9.5 and dial it
We
back.
can lower the shift points. We can play with pulleys because, you know,
Right.
there's all kinds of things we
Yeah.
can do. We can even, with the Holley, we can even add that wastegate that we were talking about
Right.
to dump boost to control it.
Right.
So we can literally dial it in to basically a 9.0 tune or a
Right.
9.5 tune.
Right.
We could probably make the Holley time it and do it. Like, that's how good this stuff is. Like, from wide open throttle, I bet it would time out.
Right.
I don't know if it does that, but it would be cool if it did. So.
Yeah. Hey, you never know what you can do.
Oh, and then Hellcat Durango outside's getting one of these cam setups. The Challenger in the back's getting one. So yeah, we're gonna have some chop Hellcats, man. So let me know what y'all think about the sound. So trying to have fun, but they also make power.
Hit us up in the comments. All right, let's get back to the dyno. So that first pull we did on street tires. So now we switched back to the drag pack tires in the rear. I'll show you, just make sure y'all see it.
Curious about what the weight does.
There's the drag pack, and here's the street tires. All right, so that's all we did is swapped out the tires. We're gonna do another pull, and we're gonna see if we get that horsepower back that we lost from the last pull when we did 1177. So give us a sec, we'll be right back.
Something.
So the tires are worth a few horsepower.
A little bit. It's all smoke on them. It's not horrible though.
So yeah, we had a little bit of tire rub.
God damn it. Put the lean back in.
All right, we're gonna go get some ice and do an ice pull. All right, so we think Mac had it strapped down a little bit too hard because it was rubbing. So now we're strapping it down. Now we're strapping it down Dave's way, and we're gonna do a quick pull that way, and then we're gonna do the ice glory pull after that.
Hey, I was single a long time, okay? I got the forearm strength from the strapping.
So we'll be back with another pull in a minute. Pull on accident, so let's scratch those numbers. Let's scratch those numbers on it. We did an accidental pull right there, so stay tuned, we'll be back in a minute. Got 1105, but the main thing is fuel pressure is great. That's the main thing we're looking at. So we're going to drain the tank and put in some ice, so stay tuned. I mean, that's it. That's as cold as we can make it.
What was the air charge on that guy? Looks like the blower is out steam.
But it's much hotter than today than it was last time. It's way more humid than it was last time. At least it feels that way.
They added more fuel to the
And we added more fuel, so we were a little bit leaner, which makes more power, but is more dangerous.
You made it so you can beat the living shit out of it, never have to worry.
That's right. So that's where we're at.
Playing the long game. You don't need to do another motor at 7,000 miles.
We're playing the safe game and playing the long game.
7,500.
It's all about longevity right now.
You say Ron Jeremy?
Longevity.
Oh, okay. I thought you said long and hard. Yeah, we'll just change the motors instead of oil changes.
All right, folks. So not the numbers we were looking for, but still great numbers.
Well, the track's all that matters. All we gotta do is
Track is all that matters. You know we're going to be going to the track here soon, so
81 degrees peak air temp will happen.
we're going to call this one over, and we'll come back. We'll let the weather get a little bit better. Maybe we'll come back and get back on the dyno and see what she really puts down. So
who cares about the dyno? We're going to the track.
All right, so you guys saw the dyno polls. You saw the numbers. It was hotter last night. Oh, this is the next day. It was hotter last night than it was when we did the 1177 pool. And also with that 1177 pool, remember we were running a little bit lean because we were running out of pump. So it ran lean, and normally I say when you run a little lean, you do make a little bit more power. So now what we've done is we've dialed it back. We've obviously added more fuel, so it's no longer lean. So we're back in the safe zone. So I think, my opinion, I think we were in the greenish yellow zone, or yellow green zone, whatever you want to call it, when we did the 1177 pull. And now we're fully back into the green zone. So that's why we didn't make quite as much power as we thought we were going to make. But let me put up the dyno graph so y'all see it. If you look at the graph at the very top end, probably around 62, 6300, it begins to start to flatten out. And all that is that, hey, we're at the max of the D1X. And we knew we were close to the max of the D1X. Now, could we overspin it a little more? Probably, but I don't. Mac and I talked about it. We don't think it's worth it putting the ProCharger at risk just to gain. I mean, we may only gain 20, 30 horsepower by pulling down a little bit more. So I'm happy with the numbers. Mac's happy with the numbers, though we were just a little disappointed, but we're both happy with the numbers. The car is running great. Fuel pressure, you saw on the dyno graph, fuel pressure is great. The curve, 100% awesome curve. I mean, look at it. That's like, you look up dyno curve in the dictionary and that's what it looks like. Yeah, we got a little blip in there with the torque, and that's just because some interference with the sensor on the dyno. You know, it jiggles around, especially with the dumps on the car. The car shakes a lot, so you know, we get a little erroneous reading in the RPMs from wherever he hooks into. But other than that, I am 100% happy with Shake and Bake. Now it's just sometime this week, because this is now Sunday when this video is out. This week the plan is to go back down to EFI Specialties, get the torque converter put in, and possibly hit some 8th mile at Summer Duck, so we can dial in the front half of the car. Back half of the car is the back half of the car, right? We've talked about this. The back half is what it is. The car is going to do what the car is going to do. The front half is where we can dial in some of those early shifts, get that 60 foot down, and we'll go from there. Now, there is a possibility of also adding nitrous in the future, just to one, help us get out of the hole a little quicker, get that 60 foot down, and pull us through the end of the pool. So what we may do, this is just me thinking out loud, I haven't talked to Mac or anything, but you know, bring it in real early, get us out of the hole, and then bring it back in late to finish it up at the end of the run. So that may be something we do. We may run it the whole freaking run, who knows. You know, we kind of get crazy sometimes, but we got the engine to do it. We got the engine that can handle it, and we'll just see what happens, and we're gonna go from there. So back to the video. That's gonna do it for this one, folks. If you're stopping in for the first time, check out the rest of the channel. If you like what's going on, hey, just subscribe and like those videos. That's it for this one. Till next time, adios.
I want the P1 triple S.